Her face is fine.
All right. Okay, we're gonna wait a little bit of time. Let a few people join in and see if we get any viewers.
Is it posted on Facebook?
Yes, so it's on Facebook, so you can share it if you'd like. Okay. It's on my personal Facebook and also on the Walking with Wisdom page. How was your weekend so far?
So far, so good.
Very fast.
I know, it went so super quick.
Oh, okay.
That's on Facebook, so you can share it. How was your weekend so far? So far, so good. There you go. So you can share that, and you can turn off your volume on your phone, so it won't do the echoing.
Turn mine off. Turn on to the beeping for me.
So we don't have any interruptions in the sound. Okay. All right. Let me know when you're ready, Leah.
I'm trying to find your page so I can share it.
You have it on your page? Do you see it on my regular page?
I'm trying to get to your page. Got it.
Are you hearing any sounds in the background?
Me? No, no, I'm not. So I think it's going well.
Somebody's calling me. Okay, I just sent it to my Facebook page. So we're good.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to my weekly recap for Walking with Wisdom. And I went ahead and invited back my guest, Leah Content. She did such an amazing job with her peer mentor session. And so we wanted to bring her on with Mom and just go over a few things. All right. So happy everybody that is joining us, and we hope that you enjoy. Be sure to ask any questions you might have as we go through our live. So Leah, we had talked earlier in the week about why it's okay to not be okay, and you had gone over some for people your age, really, that are kind of dealing with some of what you're currently going through. Do you want to just give our viewers a little refresher on what you're doing right now, and then we can talk about some of those tips that you gave us?
Well, I was talking about how the expectations that I'd set for myself were a bit too high, and how college, it really knocked me off my feet, and how I wasn't using my resources, I wasn't communicating properly. I was going through all this by myself, and instead of reaching out to say my mom and people, I had the mentality that I was going to do it all by myself, and I wasn't really accepting the idea of failure, which I know we talked about that earlier in our discussion. How accepting failure is healthy. It's good. It helps you prepare. So that way you don't self-sabotage yourself in the future, and it, in fact, teaches you a lesson that you probably need to learn.
And you just recently started college, right?
Yes.
So you're learning how to kind of manage your time and not overwhelm yourself with that.
Is that better? Sorry.
That's fine. It's good. Okay.
Yeah, I learned how to manage my time better. Classes. The first session of college, I was like, okay, you know what? I got this. Time management, I wasn't the best at, but I was trying. And with me setting such unrealistic goals for myself, it was not healthy. I would stay up too late. I wouldn't get much sleep, trying to catch deadlines. Really, if I had just had used better skills and better time management, I would have gotten it done on time and saved myself that stress.
Right. Makes perfect sense. All right. So, Miss Content, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. So I have known Leah for a while now, and definitely had the honor of just being a part of her journey. And I was letting her know earlier how proud I was of her. And I just kind of wanted to know what her having a mentor, means to you, or why do you feel that it's important for young people to receive mentorship?
I think it's a very useful tool in the pathway for young people, especially young people in Leah's situation. they're going into a different academic journey and never been there before, and it's a little bit overwhelming. And just to have somebody there to tell you you can do this, and face yourself. Don't beat up on yourself. Don't make unrealistic goals. I kind of gave her the little talk in the beginning, and as I said before, it's always nice when a parent does it, but it's much better and it's easier accepted when you're getting it from your peers or even somebody outside of the home framework. Because it's really sad, but it's the reality. Kids tend to listen to people who are not related to them much easier and will take what they're saying, and apply it. And it will be more effective for them. So I did share her journey, my journey to her when she started. And I had the privilege it's a privilege, as I said, of doing online education. And I think it's the very best thing that could ever happen in the educational sphere, because you're self-paced. It allows you to do a lot of research on your own. And I just loved it. I didn't have to move from one place to the other, going to school back and forth. I was just in my home, and wherever I was, there was always internet and I could do it. It was just a beautiful thing. So I did share those things with her. And I also did share the downfalls that I had, the little areas where I went feeling up on myself, oh my gosh, I should have done better. But as I said to her, like me, she's at a different advantage where that is concerned. I didn't know anything about the online classroom education, all of what it entails. So I was just brand new to that whole arena. And so it took me a longer time to navigate, especially where it came on to interacting with your peers online, making deadlines. And I would really beat up on myself. And I had a whole lot going on at the time, because I think, I was pregnant with Ruthie, my last one. So and I was taking care of my mother-in-law. So I had a lot on my plate, but I was determined to do this for me. And so it made it more of a treat for me than just something that I had to do. I looked forward to it because I was doing it for me to make me a better person. And so that's what I told her too. And you're doing it to make you more marketable, to make you a better person, to accomplish your dreams, but you still can't beat up on yourself. You have to pace yourself, because in the beginning you're going to fail, and failure is what's going to push you. Because when you make those first mistakes and you realize, well, I've learned from this, now I can go ahead and I know what to expect. So that's where I really went with her as far as mentoring was concerned. But I see she was still beating up on herself, so I'm glad that you came in the picture, kind of helped her with, a lot of the similar things that I was saying, but coming from a different perspective.
Right.
I was grateful for that. And forever we'll be grateful for the help that you have given her.
Oh, of course. My pleasure. It really is my pleasure. One of my favorite things is to, a lot of people were impressed with Leah's video before, just because of the way that she was able to articulate herself. And, that's what it means the most to me, is that she's able to, show her opinions and, explain her feelings to people that are her age. I think it's important for them to not only always hear older voices, but to know that they can do it themselves. And the best way to almost see that is to see it modeled.
Yes.
So I really appreciate that, she would even come on and share.
Remember, I have always been articulate. Like, you remember me, like, when you first met me, I was a nervous wreck. Like, I talked too fast. I mumbled all my words. They were like jumbled together. Like, half the teachers thought I was speaking a different language. It was really bad. Like, the only one who could understand was like, yep, I got it. She's Jamaican. That's the thing. I'll translate.
She's coming far.
Yeah, she has. She really has. She really has. I'm really proud to just be a part of, this part of her journey, to see her on this side of things. So I knew she could do it. She has those leadership qualities. Leadership qualities. So onwards and upwards in that regard. I do have a question for you, Leah. So how would you advise someone, obviously, mom is right here with you. And how would you advise a young person who maybe doesn't have that support, system? What are some ways that they can, if they are struggling, if they are going through, and don't really know what their resources are, what are some recommendations that you might have?
Well, if you, I understand that like not everyone has like a parent or like a guardian that they can trust to talk to. So sometimes it even helps like if you have an older brother or sister or cousin or someone in your family who you trust, or even a teacher or a youth pastor or a mentor, or sometimes it can be people like in a group online. Like I know there are self-help groups like on Facebook and stuff like that that help you out. Like when I was first starting off like with diabetes, like, and I didn't know anywhere to go, my endocrinologist recommended, and my mentor, she said, go find groups like on Instagram and places like that with people who are going through the same thing as you are, who can
Right.
relate to you, and it'll make you feel better because like hey, you can see how that person is dealing with it, and you can parallel that to yourself, and you can be like, okay, so and so has this, but they're still they're still living, they're still thriving, they're still moving, so maybe what's stopping me from doing that, And when I started joining like these self-help groups on Facebook and stuff like that, I started to realize that there is a community for me that will help me and will include me. And I like to think that there's a community for everyone. Some
Right.
people just haven't found it yet. And social media, it has some negative impacts, but there's a lot of good things about it because there are people who are like you out there who are just waiting to see you, to meet you as well, and be like, okay, they're just like me. We can get along. We can talk to each other. And there's always like websites and different like resources where you can go to and talk to people and stuff like that.
Great. Okay. Good. We don't have really a lot of questions here on the stream. Did you guys?
Any comments?
Not much. Did you guys have any?
One of my friends, Nicole McCoy, joined. She said,
Oh, hi, Nicole.
"Hi, Nicole."
Did either of you have any questions for me, or did you have anything you wanted to comment about summing up our theme for the week on it's okay not to be okay? I mean, I know we talked about a lot on Wednesday. We really kind of laid it out, just remembering to pace yourself, breathe, take time to consider everything that's going on with whatever is on your plate, and not really to overwhelm yourself. But was there anything else that
I have a question. Your parents. So, like, how do you explain to your children that it's okay to accept failure? How do you present an image to them, like, it's okay, not every time you're gonna make it? Like, how did you explain that to your children, or how do you explain that to your children?
I explain it to them by telling them that their success is measured only by themselves. They cannot compare themselves to other people. They cannot compare themselves to other people's expectations of them, because they are not responsible for the way someone thinks about them. So I may think that they should do A, B, and C. I feel that I know them because they're my children. So I know to a point what they're capable of. But at the end of the day, I'm an adult now, and I have made my decisions, and I'm at a certain place in my life. Their life, the decision that they make in their life is going to affect their future. So, failure is just another way for them to learn. Again, they have to not look at other people, or not only other people, but other people's expectations of them, which I think sometimes can be heavier than actually comparing yourself to another person's life, is when you hear the constant expectation, or you think that this person has, especially your parents, you assume that they have certain expectations for you. So I just try to make it very clear to them that, my expectations are for them to be the best versions of themselves, not for them to be anything beyond that. And that's the advice I would give to people, to someone who was not even my child. I think that a lot of times, even adults, we struggle, especially in the workplace, living up to other people's expectations, or trying to tiptoe around other people's feelings or emotions, and you can't be responsible for that. All you can do is be responsible for yourself at the end of the day, and know that if you are operating as the best version of yourself, really that's all you can do.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Wow.
How would you guide a teenager? Yes, really, a teenager who you're seeing them leaning towards a certain career path because of the things that you see them do very well,
Okay.
and they don't see themselves as being that person that you're seeing displayed
Okay.
in their
So,
tendencies.
okay. So you see a gift in this person
Yes.
and skill. You see gift and
Yeah.
skill in this person, and you
Hmm.
feel that they should move into a certain category, but this person themselves doesn't feel that. Do they have an idea of something else that they're interested in doing, or they just have no idea at all?
Well, they do have an idea, but something totally different. Something that, because you are the parent looking on, you tend to go, I don't see you doing very well at that.
Right.
How do you kind of steer them? You know, do you get outside people, mentors to come on in and kind of help you guide them?
I think that's 50-50, a 50-50 answer for me. So,
Mhm.
as a parent myself, I definitely see my children, you know, I see that they have skills in certain areas, and I see that they exhibit certain, you know,
And it says,
tendencies or personalities that I feel like, okay, this will fit, this type of career track, but um also believe that you do have to let someone grow into the person that they're going to be. So I think for a parent, um,
it's
that
difficult.
somebody opened the door. I got distracted. So I think for a parent, I think what you can do is open up opportunities for them. Find opportunities for them to try whatever it is that you think that they would be good at. Maybe an internship, maybe an after school activity, maybe some type of a club that will give them a taste of that. And then but still, also just at least be open to listening to
Yes.
what it is that they're interested in doing, and don't obviously don't openly sabotage that. So if they have an opportunity to try the alternate of what you think they should be doing, as long as it's safe and as long as it's not going to get them in any trouble, I would let them explore. I think young people don't always know exactly what they want to do. They may not have an idea of what exactly is best for them, but I think that they're at an age, those teen years and young adult years where they kind of have that opportunity to explore. And I think it's much better for them to explore things that are positive, than feeling restrained, doing something and getting into nonsense because they feel like they're closed in or tacked down. So I encourage the exploration on both sides. Excuse me, my son is very one track, and he's like, I don't want to do this and that. I only want to do this. And often I will say, let's just try. Let's just go visit. Let's take a look at it, because teenagers and young people also say no before having even experiencing things. They kind of just feel like it's not my vibe.
Yeah.
It's not my. That's not
Just
my.
what I want. That's what you want.
Yeah. So I do try to, expose them, and then if they make a decision to not, as long as it's not harmful, I try to just be supportive in what they're interested in. At the end of the day, if you're right, they're going to come back. They're going to come back to you, and you would have taught them, you would have left them with the information that they needed to know.
Yes.
So I think that also goes into, sometimes as parents, we have to also remember that we're not responsible for their emotions and expectations either. If all you've imported all that you can into them, and they still kind of go on and do their own thing when they come back to you, and it's like, well, I'm still here when you left me. You as long as you've been supportive to them, I think that that's what counts in the long run, and that they see that in the end.
Yes. Yes. That's so true. That's so true. That is so true. Yeah, and Leah, I didn't have to coerce Leah too much into her pathway. I kind of saw it way ahead that she was going to be a good defense.
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah.
Basically, my mother
So
tried
when
to say,
she chose that pathway, it really didn't floor me. I saw her going in that direction. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you do have kids and teenagers that you meet upon, and you see strengths in them that they
Yeah.
don't see in themselves, and
They
you're
don't.
saying, why don't you try this? And they're, no, I don't want to do that. But you
And
just
I
want to get
think
the thought, not too much.
but Mom, I think
right.
most of the time what they don't want to try it though is because like they're afraid of failure. And like if I try this, what if I get mocked? Like what if this is not gonna turn out how I expected it?
Yeah.
What if I fail? And so to
Good
prevent
point.
that, they just like I don't want anything to do with that at all. I
Yeah.
don't want to mess with
That's a
that.
good
Like
point.
no.
My youngest is like that. She's a perfectionist and she is very competitive. She wants always to be right. So she'd rather not do it than to get it wrong. You know,
Yes,
she
I
can't
have
get it.
those to deal with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She can't if she thinks that she might fail at it, she absolutely refuses to the point of an emotional, interaction where I'm like, okay, now this is an inappropriate response to something that does not cause for emotion. And the way I coach her through that is in those situations, I have to just present her into that situation. You know, obviously, if it's going to cause her some type of duress or stress, I don't. But I sometimes have to tell her, like, you can't just stop at not doing. You can't just stop at I'm not going to. It's different if you have another plan. Okay, let's talk about a plan. Let's talk about an alternate option.
Yes, yes,
But you
yes.
can't just stop at no, because that's not the way life works. And you're not always going to be 13 living in my house. Things are not always you're not going to have experienced everything. There are going to be new things, new situations, new people. So you do have to take those steps. You do have to take those steps out sometimes. So with coaching, it's not always about, oh, what do you want to do? And how do you feel? It's really about, this is what you said you wanted to do, or your goal is to be successful. If your goal is to be successful, then you have to take the steps necessary to get to success. You may not know
Yes.
those steps because you've never been there before. So sometimes there is that push. There is that push of, no, we're going to try this at least. You're going to at least try. And then if it doesn't go well, then we'll try it. We'll start again, but we can't stop at no. We have to have a solution. So I believe heavily in solutions, not,
Yes.
we can see the concern and the problem, but we're not going to stay here. So
That's right. That's right. Let's make a goal.
but that was a good point, Leah, that people are afraid. That's true. That is very true. So you have to validate that fear. You have to acknowledge that and give space, and time for kind of just moving through those steps.
Definitely.
Ignoring it is going to make them just be defensive.
Yeah.
I won't be giving them the tools that they need to move on.
Now, at the end of the day, everybody's just standing there, nobody's moving. So
Yeah.
it doesn't work.
Yes, yes, yes. I think mentorship is so needed in our society.
Yes.
It would solve so much of the problems that we're facing, especially with our young people.
Mhm.
Young people, and I would even venture on to say, not just young people, but mostly young men. The mentorship in that department is so needed, and it would stem a lot of the issues that we have, because a lot of things are not modeled for them.
Right. Yeah. Especially in certain communities, there's just a lack of male role models. So that's one of the things I am, one of the programs I'm going to be working on. About 3 summers ago, I ran a program for young girls called Poised, and it was an empowerment program. As you know, I did the praise dancing. That's something that I will probably be bringing back. And my son, I'm a single parent, and my son doesn't really have a consistent positive role model. He has some members of the family, but they're not something that they're not consistent because they're involved in their own lives.
Yes.
You know, and unfortunately they can't commit that way because a lot of them have their own children, you know, their own things going on. So I want to basically connect male mentors to young men, and they will make that commitment to, you know, have those interactions with them monthly. So that's something that the young man can look forward to. You know, be available by phone, and kind of like how you adopt and sponsor a child that lives in a different country. Well, you would adopt this child that you can actually see and that, you know, you can connect with in your community. And I just like, you know, I felt that because I've been looking for that for my own son, you know, and I said, well, you know, it's not there. So, you know, let me get it started. So that's something that I'm going to be working on. And I think that there are men out there who are willing and interested, but they need that platform. You know, they need a platform. So
they do. I think what you're doing is such a wonderful and needed service that you're providing. I'm so grateful that you've decided to put the time into it, because it does involve a lot of time and effort.
Yeah.
And, you know, when your heart is in something, then it really will blossom and become something that's useful and effective. So thank you for all you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I love working with young people, and I find myself always talking to them. And I just said, you know, let's just see, you know, how I can grow this and really reach the community. This is my weakest point is being on camera. I can do one-on-one. I can do small groups. I can speak to a group of young people.
Don't worry, you're going to get better. You're a work in progress, and you have that part already, so you know how to relate to them face to face.
Yes,
you're going to do great on this. You're going to do great on this.
I'm always better behind the screen, behind the scenes, jumping out.
Yes. I don't want to be on stage. Let me just sit in the back. Y'all got it. Y'all shine. Yeah.
Well, God has bigger plans for you, Missy. The mandate is yours, and I see that you're taking it and running with it, and He's pleased.
Thank you. I feel like these kids need it, especially now. I just feel for them. You know, I have 3 teenagers myself, so I see. You know, I try to raise them up to be these, you know, open-minded, bright individuals that are able to make smart decisions for themselves. I really respect. I really respect young people. I feel like they have a lot of. They haven't gotten to that place where they're stuck on themselves right now. You know, they're taking in everything. They're learning everything. They're watching. They're observing. They're listening. You know, and I think a lot of times we tell them to sit down and be quiet, and we are missing out on our future. You know, helping to raise our future because we're so ready to dismiss. You know, and I think that it's Dr. Manning,
it's okay.
All right. We'll catch you later. We'll catch you another time. We appreciate you. But I think that we as adults, we just sometimes get so busy with our lives that we're missing out on the opportunity to really connect with the future. And I think that we need to pay a little bit more attention. And I know adults now that I talk to who, if someone had been able to tell them when they were teenagers just to love themselves a little bit better, respect themselves a little bit better, you know, that told them that they were
made such a difference.
Yeah, that they were, exactly, that they were full of greatness, you know, that God had, I believe God has given you everything that you need to be successful. It's inside of you. You just need, sometimes people need that light to shine to pull it out of themselves. Dr. Manning, I see that you say you're almost home. If you want to join us, we'll wait. We'll have you come on. So don't rush. We'll be here.
I'm excited to meet you.
Yeah, I feel very passionately about young people and their capabilities. I love watching them succeed. I think it's amazing to see, you know, all that they're able to do. Some of them are so gifted. You know what I mean? I think that I think that it gets lost. You know, I'm all for education. Of course, you know, my kids are, you know, college bound. I'm actually in school now. And but I feel like we have to remember to see more than just that. It's more than just, you know, a seat at a desk. You know, it's more than just following the rules and procedures. It's more than just, you know, let's find out who they
Nurturing the
are as
whole human.
people. Right, exactly.
I feel
Who are
like
you?
sorry.
Go ahead. No, you're fine.
I feel like as a student, sometimes we feel like the education system doesn't really see us as human beings, but more so like as a number, you know, on a list. And so when we
Right.
get the chance to express ourselves and we're told, oh, you know, that's too much or you shouldn't be speaking, it's like, wow, you know, we've worked all this time to cultivate like our minds and, you know, our ideas, and to be told that, you know, you're a child, what do you know? You don't know anything. It kind of hurts, you know, because it's like you've done the research, you spent the time, and you're not even willing to hear me out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's bad because then it's imaging, and then it makes yourself doubt yourself. It's like, wow, well, what do I really know? You know, I spent all this time. Maybe I'm wrong,
Yes.
but in reality, you are right. So when you have adults who actually listen to you and acknowledge you, that's a good thing, and it makes you feel better about yourself. And I thank you, Miss Wisdom. You always listen to my ideas, no matter how crazy they may have sounded at the moment. But thank you.
No, you're welcome.
Yeah. I think I just am so grateful that you're going in this direction, because it's such a needed thing, especially now for teenagers that are going through this season of pandemic when the kids are at
Right.
home. So many of them are at home without supervision, you know, and having so many other entities have such an impact in their life. You know, God knows where they're going now at home.
It's
And I can tell you firsthand, because you're a teacher on the other end, and you're trying to teach, but they're preoccupied with so many other things in their environment.
Yes.
And you feel very bad for the parents, you know, who have to go out and work. And so to have a mentor who they're accountable to, who they can check into and talk to, and, you know, just voice what's going on in their little minds, you know. There's a lot of uncertainty in our world, you know, just to have that kind of a person there, I
Yes.
think it's a wonderful thing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know, like, from first-hand experience, and I'm at home with my sisters, because during, like, you know, the quarantine, it was chaotic because, like, the Wi-Fi was horrible. Things were going in and out. We kept, like, it was bad because, like, we were getting angry at each other because one was being too loud, and, like, you gotta mute your mic. I'm like, for a whole week, my sister was having her mic unmuted, and the teacher could hear everything in the background. So I would be talking to one of my college counselors, and her teacher would be like, "Who's talking?" And it's like my sister, and it's like, "Mute your mic." And she'd be like confused on where to do it. It was funny. And then the websites would crash. That was the worst. You'd have a panic attack and you'd be in the middle of a test, and the website would just crash. And it's just like, what happened to my grade?
Lot of challenges, you know, but
Right.
hopefully throughout all of this, we would have grown when we've gotten to the other side.
Yeah.
Yes.
When we've gotten to the point where we can look back and look at it as a learning experience. It's
Right.
hard though when you have family members who have been hit with the COVID, and some that didn't make it, and some that are still struggling, you know, but to get to the point later on where we can look back and see, you know, this was a learning experience for us.
Right.
And, you
In
know,
the future, you can be like, you know, you thought you had it hard. Back when I was a kid, we had
When I was a youngin', you're gonna be using that famous line. You know.
so that they're getting coping skills now that they didn't have before. So
Right.
it serves its purpose. It serves its
Yeah.
purpose, like everything else, every trial, you know.
Yeah.
Those kinds of
They're coming through a lot. You know, I've never experienced going through a pandemic. You know, as a young
Yes.
person, you know, I can think back. I remember I moved from Maryland to Florida, and I literally thought my life was going to end. Like, it was the end of the world for me. You know, I remember I cried for like 5 days, and I just couldn't handle it. It was, my whole life was
Yeah.
you know, was over in my eyes. But these kids have, especially, you know, those of you that have just graduated, like yourself, Leah, like, things were just so uncertain, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of different things in the climate just, you know, going crazy all over the place. And I think, you know, to have come this far as a young person, dealing with all the different things that have been happening and across the world, I think that it is very commendable to see young people still having positivity, still, you know, wanting to grow, having goals and dreams, you know. And my job as a coach is to help those who do have goals, you know, guide them and help them go in the right direction. And if some people say they don't have goals, but they don't realize that dreams can be goals, you know, things that you may think that you never could get there, but my job is to help you see that you can, you know, and it's to show you the how and guide you with those steps. So Dr. Manning was saying here, it's challenging for the teachers and that it's new for everyone. And that's correct.
Yeah, that is so true. So true.
Yeah.
So true. Yeah.
It is. It's new for everybody. Yeah. I think
it's really, it's really, I'm thinking of when the COVID just started and how challenging it was and so much unknown, you know.
Right.
We've gotten to a point now where we understand what we're dealing with a little more. And of course, the remedies out there are a little bit more effective. But we're still in the season of the pandemic. But it was so much unknown at the beginning. And I felt for my kids more than I did myself. It sounds weird because especially Leo, you know, with the health issues that she had on board, you know, and I thought to myself, no, I have to make sure I don't make her overwhelmed with the fear that I am feeling. So it was a catch-21. And she, I'm telling you, she sort of motivated me so many times when I was just so down, and she's like, "Oh, Mom, we can do this. We can do this, Mom."
You have just Scrabble nights.
Yeah. Oh,
and
we have
trash talk. This is what I made up for. Scrabble nights, trash talk, movies,
mostly Scrabble nights.
Amounts of junk food, and mostly tortillas and dip. That's like when we play Scrabble. That's what we think. It's tortillas and dip.
Scrabble was our go-to as a family. Scrabble.
My mom's favorite game.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, we played Scrabble like we never did before.
It was kind of an addiction for us.
Yeah, and that brought us together as a family. And
I
you know, we had
thing
that we could, you know, look forward to every night. We would play our Scrabble game. No matter what junk food we had with Scrabble, we had Scrabble.
It was that and the little ginger shots when I'm gonna make a steak. During the day, first thing in the morning, 5 a.m. stat, ginger shots and your vitamins. She still does this every day before she
and look at you. Nice and healthy.
Mom, right? Miss Wisdom, it makes us moms.
It's like a whole 16 pills.
Yeah, it's okay.
And you're healthy.
One day,
and you're here to talk about it. See?
There you go.
You're here to tell us about it.
She was resilient through it all, because you have to understand too. It was the graduation part was the part that was so devastating to me, and I tried to wrap my mind around it to figure out how we could deal with it, because I said to myself, it's a point in her life that she waited years to get to, and it's here now, and she can't graduate, and so that for me was a big thing, because I am her mother and I know the struggles that she's been through, both medically and academically. And to get to this point now, it was a hard one. But she was determined, quietly determined. She told me, and this is how resilient she is. She said, "Mom, it doesn't really matter if anything happens to me and I get the COVID. At least I graduated."
At least I graduated high school and team
you know, so when she came out like that, I said, you know what? I just have to support her as best I can. Shaking, but I got to support her.
Right.
She was really right. She worked hard for that moment.
Her faith, you can't, we can't knock her faith down.
No.
Dr. Manning said, yes, I felt the same about the graduation and prom for her daughter. Right, because you don't want them to lose those experiences. You know, it was important. Those milestones are important, and you're right. They work so hard.
Oh yes, and then when all the other schools were saying that they weren't going to do the graduation, And our
Right.
school said, no, our kids are going to walk. And our
Right.
headmaster, Dr. Curry, said, no, the kids worked hard and she's going to make sure it happened. And
Yeah.
so I said, Lord, well, she's out there, she's representing the students, she's representing you, and cover us all.
Yeah.
And he did. He did.
Yeah.
He did. He comes through every time. And
Yeah.
we had the pinning ceremony, we had the prom, we had the graduation, and we, of course, we followed CDC guidelines. Of course, we did.
Right. Right.
But God was with us, and it brought it to fruition. So there goes the mentoring issue again. Most of the time, she was mentoring me through this process.
Right.
It was
And I
funny
think
because,
that's
like, I didn't
important.
even
There's
think
so
that
much
I was
to
doing that
learn.
to my mom.
Yes.
Like, I didn't even think that I was mentoring my mom. It's crazy. I just thought, like, it's COVID-19. What I thought, I was like, okay, world is, in their house. Just think of it as, how bears do hibernation. Like, this is just
Yes.
temporary hibernation for me, What's the word? I'm in my room, I'm sleeping, playing shot with my mom. We may have to take a few vitamin shots. It's okay, There are other people who have it worse. People who don't have homes.
You're right.
People who don't have families that they're with. They're
Right.
quarantined people that they hate or don't like. And at least
Right.
I'm with my family, and we look to them. I mean, sure, we may, get a little chaotic here and then, we may yell, but other than that, it's fine, But at least we
Right.
get along, and there's love here. We can
Yeah.
talk it out. There are some people who, they're by themselves. They don't have anyone to be quarantined with. They don't have anyone to talk to. They don't have anyone to talk about their emotions with. And when you think about it, you have to think, wow, I'm actually blessed, And I'm fortunate that I'm in an opportunity where I'm with my family, and we love each other. We're together. We can talk. And we're all safe. We're not sick. We're all healthy. We got food. We have a house over our head. We have clothes. So everything's good.
Yes. That's it. That's fact. Yeah. I love the part where you guys talked about that it brought, that you took this time to come together closer as a family. We did the same. We did the same, and I started a little garden, which is no longer in existence right now. But during
What happened to it?
it lived its course, and it's no longer. But
On the other hand, mine on the other hand, and a bunch of bananas and a lot of papayas.
Ooh.
Named them.
I'm going to do it again. What happened is I didn't plant it its season is over. So the things that I planted there, I have to actually set up a new base for it and actually plant according to the season. But it did good for a while. It was a way to connect, back with God and the earth and yourself. Really, I loved going out there every morning and talking to my plants. It was
Me too.
Yeah,
see, I'm not the only one that does it.
My mom
I'm not the
was
only one that
happy
does
when
it.
we got a dog because she wouldn't go outside during the day because of the lizards. She hated lizards. So whenever she goes out hunting, she brings Lulu with her. And Lulu, she's vicious. When she goes after lizards, she claws them, she rips them in half, and then she'll eat them and bury them. It's bad.
Oh,
My
God.
dog.
Oh my goodness.
But that's an important thing to remember when you said that, some people don't have the opportunity to have that positivity through this experience. I think it's important to remember, you spoke about being a teacher, and I think it's important if you working in a profession where you are constantly, dealing with young people, that you take in consideration that everybody doesn't have the same household setup, come from the same family structure. You don't know what they're coming from in the morning, and what the pandemic may have done to that economic status that they have. Parents are out of work, stressed out. These kids are coming with bearing a lot of burdens, taking care of younger siblings, or sickly relatives, like older relatives. So we have to definitely be supportive of our young people that we do have the pleasure of being in contact with.
Yes, and that is so necessary. As I've said before, I'm really grateful that you're stepping up to do this, because kids need mentors. They really do, and there's not enough mentors out there.
No, yeah, they aren't. And so that is where the peer mentorship comes into place. You know, I know Leah's in school and, you know, has her own things to focus. I'm sorry, I keep pausing. I hear a weird sound in the background. I know we're live, but it's like a static sound. I'm not sure if everyone else can hear it. But I told, okay, I did tell Leah earlier, you know, that as things move along and if there are young people who are dealing with, you know, some of the things that she's currently going through with college and time management, you know, as a peer mentor, you know, I would love to be able to connect her with someone who she could give advice to, you know. So it's another part of the program to be able to not only for me to mentor. I don't believe in that mentoring and then drop. You know, I want to keep a sounds like a fan. There's no fan. I'm not sure what it is. So you can hear it. People can hear it.
I can't.
Sound is I don't know what sound is in the background. It wasn't there. Now it came back. So no sound in here. I'm not sure what's going on. Only when I talk. So sorry about that if you guys can hear that. But raising young people up, young men and women up to be able to mentor other young men and women is definitely a goal of mine. So, you know, going through a program with me, and then going through, you know, me mentoring, and then being able to train, and then for that individual then to turn around and be able to mentor themselves. That's the ultimate goal, because we have to help each other. You know.
Yes. Each one help one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think like during like the coronavirus, like the quarantine, like we've realized it's taking this time to reflect on things that, you know, we otherwise have noticed, like behaviors that we've accepted for so long but shouldn't be accepted, like, you know, like things, you know, how you start to pick up on books that, you know, you think that they're normal, but they're actually quite just like disrespectful and they're wrong. And I feel like quarantine, as bad as it's been bringing awareness to different issues that, you know, have been hidden, you know, like the racial issues and stuff like that. It's, you know, it's brought more, like, you never really think about it, and then you start to think about it more, and it brings you, and it makes you think like, wow, I've been doing this so long, and maybe it's not the right thing to do. And, you know, like with mom, you realize it as well, like different things in the news, and it's like,
yeah,
how can this be happening? Why haven't we stopped it earlier?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's all a process. It's all a process. You know, and just as she said, you know, certain things that have been going on, you know that it's wrong, and you don't want to be a lone voice, but your voice just the same makes a difference. And if you see something wrong going on, and you don't acknowledge it and deal with it in a manner that's appropriate to correct whatever the situation is, then you're just to be blamed as those persons who are doing it, right? So it really has, just as you said, brought awareness on a lot of different issues that have come full circle, you know, in our environment, in our community, in our country.
Yes. Yeah.
This was my question for you.
Yes.
So during like the whole week of like the George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, like, how do you explain to your kids, like, you know, they're different and like they're going to get treated different because of the skin color of their skin, and how do you like not let that overwhelm them at the same time? Because like I know when I was reading about like the George Floyd cases and stuff like that, and I'm in my law classes, I was thinking like, how are they going to get away with this? Like the laws in place, like why is this acceptable? Why is no one in like officials, like why are they not doing something? How do you explain to your kids that, you know, that stuff isn't being done, and how do you not let that overwhelm them at the same time?
Well, definitely have to take a balance with that. You have to know what, I think everyone is different, so knowing what they can handle hearing, or knowing, and knowing, you know, what they can't. I definitely let them stay informed. They kind of knew about a lot of the information before me because of they're on social media. You know,
Yeah.
I know they did. We all took a break from social media as a family. We sat down and talked about it together as a family. And I let them go ahead and express their pain and their anger. And of course, I didn't openly express my pain and anger to them so that I could take in their, I could let that energy come into me instead of me, you know, matching that energy. I just had to let them express themselves. Um, you know, and then, you know, talk again. We don't necessarily have solutions, but as a family, just talking about, you know, our solutions, how we're carrying ourselves, you know, explaining to all of them, but my son specifically on how to be a young man in this climate and what that means, and how it means that, you know, for him, he needs to be acting a lot more responsible and mature. You know what I'm saying? So I believe that things happen in society that cause cultural shifts, you know, cause the way we normally do things to change. And I feel like we have to, as individuals, we have to meet that face on. We can't, you know, sit back with our arms crossed and be like, it's not fair. That might be true, but at the end of the day, again, your goal is to be the best version of yourself and to be successful. So sitting back, you know, being angry or sad about it is not going to change it. You have to move forward and continue to be that best version of you. So I allow them to express, allow them to, you know, let that energy, and uh, and just kind of was that ear, you know, and then just guiding them through those feelings. And you know, I made them take a break. We all took that break to just give time to breathe and refocus and recenter. And we took that time to, you know, spend more time together as a family. So that's the way I handled that situation.
Yes. And that is very helpful because not a lot of times teenagers, when they're dealing with issues like this, are able to articulate what they're feeling. And
Right.
then it's pent up and it's pent up, and then behaviors start to come
Right.
into play because of them not being able to express how they feel. And
Right.
then it goes back also to the issue, another cultural issue too, that I can't speak to this culture as much as I can speak to my own. I'm sorry about that.
So that's my meter.
It's okay.
Yeah, I can speak to my own, but children are heard and are not seen.
Right.
Children are seen and not heard, the other way around,
Right.
sorry.
Right.
And
No.
so because of that, they don't get to express themselves. And if they can't verbally express themselves, they're going to find some way to express themselves. And you know,
Yes.
so being a mentor and then helping them to channel that anger or that overwhelming feeling that they're having, it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing because they're able to see that their voices are heard, you
Yes.
know, and they can make a change. They can make a difference by just, you know, voicing their opinion.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
You know, and Leah, that's a good question, because mentorship is not always about just goals. And well, it's still goals, but it stems from something that's not as positive as goal setting. You know, people are hurting. You know, young people are hurting, and there is a difference between a mentor and a therapist. A therapist helps you kind of in the moment of when you're in the moment of when you're learning how to cope, you know, or how to move through. But the coach is there to guide you after the fact. And but it is sometimes these feelings and situations are not always the most positive, you know, and you still need somebody to help you move out of that negativity into your next step. So
yeah,
that was a great question.
yeah. And equipping them with the coping skills that they need to.
Yeah.
Mentors are able to do that because they may have not been down the exact road that the
Right.
teen is going through or dealing with, different issues that they're dealing with, but they can advise them, giving them coping skills that they have used in similar situations. So just having those coping skills that a mentor passes on is that's another real good purpose of having mentors.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, developing coping skills. Yeah.
As an adult, I've had several mentors myself, and definitely helped me to heal and to move through to some different steps in my life.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
I think it's important. Important. And sometimes you don't realize, that you're being mentored or that you need a mentor, but
Yes,
I
yes.
think it's definitely something that it should
Necessary.
be more common. Yes.
Yeah, it should be.
I think Dr. Manning is still wanting to send us an invite. She's gonna come on.
Okay.
Mommy, do you have any questions that you want to ask? Any comments you'd like to make?
Yeah, just sharing over and over again how happy I am that she's she's devoting her time, because I know I also was a treatment home parent, my husband and myself, for 17 years. Yeah. And so we were also mentors in that program. And we were able to help a lot of teenagers, and it is such a rewarding thing. There's no finances that can give you that feeling of much financial reward, but just to know that you can help to make a difference in the life of a teenager that's been through so much, and just to help them to process and know that there's somebody there who's willing to listen, and not just listen, but to care, to be there to help them, over the different humps. I still have, up to this day, a young lady reached out to me. I think she probably was our either 8th or 10th child that we had in our program, our therapeutic foster care program that we did. And she was struggling a lot. She struggled with a lot of issues. And to the point where, we just, when she left our home, we prayed and asked God to continue to guide her and protect her, because we saw the changes that she had made. But the world that she was entering in on her own was, it was for us scary. So I can just imagine for her how much. But she'd gotten to the age where society said it's time for you to go on your own. And so we prayed and begged God that the skills that she had learned, not just from us, but from other people, would be there to kind of scaffold her as she went through the different issues, And she's doing pretty good. She's doing very, very good. Yeah, I'm always so happy when that happens, because I always tell them, I said, the cycle, you can break that cycle or you can continue it. It's all left up to you. And the tools that you're given to make the determination where your life goes from here on. And, I spoke to her, I said, guess what? You broke that cycle. Your generation, your kids coming up will look at your life in a different way. They won't be so hurt. They won't have so much hurt going through the way you did. Of course, you can tell them. You don't have to tell them everything in detail that you went through, but the things that will help them to navigate their journey in a positive way. I'm so proud of her. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Parenting is not an easy job. It's a tough job.
Yeah, no.
I saw this quote where, when your children have kids, it's like your parents' revenge, because then you get to watch them and laugh. And that's true, because I see how my mom is with my brother and my niece. Whenever my niece does something wrong, she's like, "Oh no, she's so sweet, she's so nice."
And he looks at me like,
"You like that when you were younger too, Andrew."
Exactly.
It's funny. I definitely enjoyed being a foster sibling, because it made me appreciate more what my parents have given to me, and and realize that not everyone has the same opportunities as us, and I still talk to some of my foster siblings to this day. I always consider them my real siblings, like family, and they've always been supportive of us. They've always been super kind to us. Some of them are extremely funny. The different stories they tell you when you first meet and stuff like that. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, well, we've been on here for an hour, and I'm gonna go ahead. It went fast. We talked about a lot. I really enjoyed having you guys on. Usually I do these. usually do the Sunday recaps alone, but it was great to have you guys on. And I appreciate you for being available. So I'm going to go ahead and close us out. If anybody has any questions, please go ahead and send me a message. And if you want to be on for a session with me, just go ahead and also you can send me a message or an email to www.youthcoaching@gmail.com. All right. Everybody, hope you have a great night. Leah, thank you so much. Miss
Thank you,
Content, thank you
Wisdom,
so
for
much.
having us. Thank you.
All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you, you too.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.